Hey you guys, welcome to another Wundacore workout on the mat. Okay, today I have a nice little workout for you around hip health. So we are going to be working through the pelvis a lot today. So we're going to take it into external rotation, external rotation. You're going to feel a lot of different movement, okay? We're going to do some pelvic tilting. In this process, we're going to get into those deep hip rotators. And some little naggy muscles that may bother you from time to time, like things like the piriformis, which runs really deep in there, but if naggy and painful sometimes, can run all the way from the glute down and wrap around the side of the thigh to the knee. So little things that, you might not be sure where the pain's coming from, but if the hips aren't operating properly, these little things are going to start to turn on. So hopefully in this class that we have today, you learn a little bit about your body. That's what I'm hoping for. So it's a little bit of anatomy at the same time, okay? So with your Wundacore is going to make it a little spicy because the Wundacore has some weight to it, all right? So it should be fun, all right? We're going to start on our feet. And we're going to stay on our feet pretty much until the end, all right? So let's do it. All right, you're going to start in first position. So heels together, toes turned out. So you're going to find that little Pilates V. Remember, we're not dancers. Maybe you are a dancer, but I don't want you here super externally rotated. I want you in that shallow V, okay? Inner thighs are zipped up. Now, your Wundacore is going to come around your forearms. All right, now it does not make it easy to hold on to, I know, especially because it has a little weight to it. So we're going to get into our back today. Whole body, right? Whole body every time. So collarbone wide, I want you to imprint outbound into the ring so the back side of your arm is on the Wundacore, your palms are in. All right, notice how my fingertips are all spread wide because I'm intentionally pressing outbound into the ring. So I feel my back, I feel the lats, I feel that light up. All right, my belly button's drawing up and back. I want you to think about that internal X, right? Sternum, I'll show you correct, sternum to tailbone or sacrum, right? Pubic bone right between those shoulder blades. All right, so we've got a nice tall posture. Now, from here, we're going to keep the arms down, but we're going to find a first position plie. So on your exhale, you're going to bend both knees, letting the inner thighs open. Find your first one and stay there. I want you to take a look down. Are your knees tracking with big toe, second toe? Right? We need that to be happening, and we're not going to let our knees do whatever they want. It's a controlled plie. Chest is completely upright. The depth comes from the opening of the inner thigh. All right? And then we rise back up, zipping up the inner thigh. Think of those inner thighs like suspenders. They pull up along the spine. Okay? Bend both knees. Exhale. Inhale, zip. 2 more only because we're going to add on. Exhale, bend. Good. Notice I'm looking straight ahead at you because if I look down at the floor, I'm probably going to be tilting, right? We don't want to do that. Bend and find that internal zip, nice and strong. On your next plie, you're going to find the plie, but as you do it, okay, your arms are going to go up and overhead. Hold that there. Intentionally press outbound into that ring, okay? We're getting a little deeper. Feel those shoulder blades. They melted down the back a little more. Right? And then we zip and we bring the Wundacore down, okay? Exhale, plie. Good, arms come up. My biceps never pass my ears. And then I rise and zip. Find that internal pull of the inner thighs up along the spine. Exhale, bend. Good, we're gonna change it again, but we got one more of these, okay? Exhale, plie, arms come up and overhead. Now, keep your arms overhead and zip. Okay, now stay here. Now, you're going to plie, bring your arms down. Okay, now when we rise, our arms go up. We're going to zip and find length on that inhale. Exhale, bend, arms come down. Feel the shoulder blades come back to normal. And then we inhale, we zip. Feel the shoulder blades come down the back. Okay, exhale, bend. Good. We're activating through those inner thighs. Okay, right now we are going to activate through the glutes too. They're going to play big roles for us today. Okay, last 2. Inhale, zip. If you're not pressing outbound into that Wundacore, it's going to slide around on you. Okay, mine's trying to do that. Okay, inhale, zip. And exhale, plie. Now, keep your arms down, but straighten your legs. You're gonna take your feet slightly wider than your hips, just slightly. Toes forward, so we're no longer externally rotated in that first position. We are parallel with our legs, toes forward. You're still pressing outbound into your ring. I know you feel your back. It's good stuff, right? All right, I'm gonna turn to the side on this one because we're gonna find a squat. You're gonna bring your arms right off your chest, okay, with that Wundacore, pressing outbound. Palms, fingers open wide. You're gonna sit back with your hips, so that means you're going to have a tilt of the torso. As you reach your sitting bones back, your chest is gonna tilt because your ribs are gonna follow your hips. Hold your first one, take a look. Are my knees tracking with big toe, second toe? Are they over the center of the foot? They need to be behind the toes, but in front of the ankle. All right, finding those good bone rhythms. And then we're gonna rise back up, keep the arms off the chest. Okay, 3 more. Exhale, find your squat, hold it. Your sitting bones are broad here, right? Center the glute, they're nice and wide. And then we narrow the sitting bones to rise. Last 2. Exhale, reach with your sitting bones. Inhale, rise. Last 1. Exhale, reach. Okay, now we're gonna combine the recruitment of the inner thighs on our next move here. You're gonna find that squat and you're gonna hold it this time. So reach those sitting bones back and hold. Now, you're gonna peel your right heel 2 inches off the floor. Try to stay centered, try not to let the weight shift too much. Okay, stay right there. Now you're pressing the ball of your right foot into the mat. Now, as that right heel goes back to the floor, your left heel is gonna be lifting at the same time. So right heel goes down, left heel lifts, and then we switch again. Left heel down, right heel lifts. All right, so it's mid-air passing of those heels. The goal here is to remain stable through the pelvis, no hula dancing, right? And to keep us from shifting forward, we wanna stay in that squat. Switch, good. Everything should be super quiet. So if you couldn't see my feet, it would look like I was just holding a squat. Nice and smooth. As you work, you'll find that transition of the heel pass is gonna get smoother and more controlled. Good, switch. And switch, last 2. Right up, left down. Left up, right down. 1 more, right up, left down. Left up, right down. Both heels are gonna go up and hold. Woo! Find balance, hold. Pressing through the balls of the foot. Find equal weight distribution between the big toe and the pinky toe. Base of those toes, hold. For 4, for 3, for 2, stay there. Bring your arms up and overhead, biceps frame the ears, stay. 4, 3, 2, heels down, and rise all the way up. Oh boy, right? Take that ring off for just a second. Okay, we're gonna start playing with internal rotation and external rotation of the hip. So for this one, it gets a little tricky. If you need to put your Wundacore down for a moment to figure out what's going on, you do that. Okay, this is a more advanced move, so I want you to really listen to my cues. Your left foot's gonna go forward, your right foot's gonna go back. So you're in a staggered standing position. I don't want either one of your legs directly under you like you're standing up normal. Okay, that would be here, right? We're gonna take the left foot forward and the right foot back. So neither foot is under you completely. Now, it's not a big scissor stance, okay? It's very narrow. Now, your Wundacore is gonna come back around the forearms, and I know you don't like me very much for that right now. I don't like myself right now very much for that. Oh, the back, right? You're gonna feel the back tomorrow. Okay, now, in this position, you're gonna bring the Wundacore right off your chest and imprint outbound. The reason for the Wundacore here is it's gonna prevent, or what I hope, is gonna prevent rounding of your shoulders and back. We're gonna hinge, and I want you to keep your back flat and your collarbone wide. So the Wundacore should help maintain that. All right, now, you're gonna soften both knees. Make sure they are not locked out or perfectly straight. They are soft. All right, now I want you to create resistance internally by pulling your left leg back and your right leg forward. All right, so do that, driving them through the mat. You're pulling your left leg back and you're pushing your right leg forward. So you're feeling the left calf and maybe a little of the distal hamstring, so the lower part of the hamstring, and then the front right quad and hip flexor. Right, now we're gonna get deeper into that so you feel more close, more proximal to the core. Keeping the knees soft and keeping that resistance. You're still imprinting in your Wundacore. You are gonna hinge at the hip. So where the leg and the hip meet, on that left leg is where I want you to focus. You're gonna crease and you're gonna fold with a flat back. So that means your left sitting bone is reaching back. Your knees are gonna bend more. Your arms are just following your spine, right? So my back is flat now. I now feel, right? My toes are pointing forward. I now feel my proximal hamstring, so closer to my core. All right, hold that, hold that. All right, now from here, we're gonna come right back up. I was gonna take us into something else, but you know what? Let's try a couple of those first, okay? Let's find that resistance again. Left leg, pull, right leg, push, right? So you're finding that oppositional resistance. Okay, hold that, hold that. Now, knees are soft. You're gonna hinge at the hips. Hinge, 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 hinge. Your arms are just following your spine. Your back is flat like there's a tray of drinks there. Hold it. Hold it and feel that. Relax your toes. Mine tend to grip. Relax them and come back up. Whoo, how are the arms? They're tired, huh? All right, we're gonna get into it now, so here we go. Find that oppositional pull with the legs. Left leg pulling in, right leg pushing forward. Okay, you've got it. Your hips are square, so are your shoulders. Hinge at that hip. Hinge, keeping the back flat. Okay, hold it once you get there. All right, now your left hip, that's your forward leg, your left hip is gonna internally rotate. So that means the hip is going to drop. So my chest is gonna rotate to the right as I internally rotate. Focus on your hip, nothing else. I'm just cueing you all that other the residual after effects of that movement, right? Your left hip has dropped. It is internally rotated, which means my right leg straightened a little bit, right? Come back to center and come all the way up out of that. Good. All right, let's do it. I know your arms are tired. Whew, a little bit of grit there. Okay, hang on. Resistance, find it in the body. Here we go. Hinge, hinge and hold. Now, if you need to drop the Wundacore at any point to feel this, you can do that, okay? The Wundacore is making it that much more difficult. Hold. Your hips are parallel right now. Your left hip is gonna go into external rotation. So you're gonna open the left hip to the left hip to the left. Your chest is gonna also rotate to the left because it's following that hip. My left leg straightened a little bit more, and my right knee bent a little more for that rotation. Come back to center, both knees bend back where they were, and I come all the way back up. All right, one more time, internal and then external, and then we're out of it. Okay, here we go. Find that internal resistance. Hinge at the hip. Hinge. It's a lot. This is a lot of intentional movement. This is quite advanced here. Take your left hip, and you're gonna internally rotate. The Wundacore, your chest, are gonna slightly drift to the right with that rotation. That's just an after effect, right? My left knee bent a little more, my right leg straightened a little more. Come back through center and come all the way up. Arms off the chest. Last one, hang on with those arms. You're gonna get a break, I promise. Find that internal resistance. Left pulls, right pushes. Hinge at the hip. Good. We're activating everything. Feel that activation. It's not for nothing, okay? Externally rotating, opening the left hip to the left, right? My Wundacore rotates, my chest rotates a little, my left leg became a little straighter, my right knee became a little more bent. Come back to center, come all the way up, and let the arms come down. Oh boy. We feel the back, right? Okay, we're gonna take the Wundacore around the ankles now. Yes, the arms get a break. I'm gonna get a little mobility now. So you're gonna step into your Wundacore nice and carefully. Okay, it's gonna come above the bony landmark of your ankle. Okay, so above those bones. toes forward. You're slightly wider than hips width most likely. Again, depending on size of person, when you step into that Wundacore will, kind of tell you where you're at. But probably in a perfect squat position is where you're at, okay? Now, we're gonna find that squat, okay? We're gonna find a nice shallow squat. So I'm gonna turn to the side again because I want you to be able to see the alignment. Arms are long by your side, okay? But they're gonna lift overhead as we squat. So on your exhale, you're gonna reach your sitting bones back, knees are gonna bend, arms are gonna travel up and overhead, your toes are relaxed. Find a squat. It is a shallow squat. I don't want you super deep. Your booty is way above your knee. Your torso is tilted naturally because of the reach of the sitting bones, right? Crown of the head reaching from the tailbone, low back is long, my ribs are stacked with my hips, right? And arms are overhead, biceps framing the ears. I know all the talking, but it holds time under tension is really what it is. All right, hold here. Now, we're gonna find a flexion curl in this standing position. So on your exhale, you're gonna nod your chin, round your spine, draw your belly button up and back. Your tailbone's gonna curl under as your fingertips tap the side of your calf. And then you're gonna come back to a flat back, repositioning the ribs over the hips, lengthening the low back, right? And arms are up and overhead. Let's do it again. Stay in your squat. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine, draw the belly button up and back. Think about your spine like a C. Try to make a C. And then come all the way back to a nice long flat back. Okay, let's do it again. Exhale, round and curl, tailbone pulls under. Try to relax your toes. If they're gripping the floor, relax them. Keep them down. You're trying to find equal weight distribution through the foot, maybe a little heavier through the heel. Okay, let's do it again. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine, and come back. 2 more, okay? Three more. Exhale, nod your chin, round your spine, hold it. Come back to your flat back. Last 2, all right, then we're out of it. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine. You got this, lots of intention, right? Think about what you're doing. Good, and then come back to your flat back. My squat hasn't moved one bit. Keep it where it's at, right? The movement is through the spine. Exhale, nod the chin, round the spine. Draw the belly button up and back between your shoulder blades. And then come back to your flat back and rise all the way back up. Are you ready for the Wundacore back on the arms? Probably the answer is no. My answer is not very happy about that either, but we're gonna do it. So step out of the Wundacore carefully, okay? And back around the forearms. We got this. We're gonna do that staggered hinge on the other side, okay? So pressing outbound into your Wundacore. This time, your right foot is forward and your left foot is back. Both feet are flat. Both sets of toes are pointing forward. Neither foot is directly under your hip, all right? But they're not wide either, all right? So here we go. Let's bring those arms off the chest, all right? You got this. Broaden the collarbone. We're gonna start to find that internal resistance. So you're gonna pull with your left leg. So you're gonna find that intention back. And then with your left leg, you're gonna find that intention forward. So you're pushing forward with your left leg. My knees are soft, so this can happen. The last thing I want you to do is lock your joints, okay? Arms are off the chest. We're imprinting outbound into the Wundacore. Now, you're gonna hinge at the hip. So think about your left hip this time. We're gonna crease. My back is gonna stay flat, and that's what I'm hoping the Wundacore is helping you do, right? Again, if you need to drop the Wundacore, you can, but I want it to assist in really holding that flat back, okay? So find your hinge and you're holding it, okay? You're still creating that internal resistance. Hopefully you're feeling that more proximal hamstring, so the back of the right leg closer to the glute, okay? That's what I want you to feel. And then you're gonna come all the way back up. Okay, let's do it again. Create that internal resistance. Hinge at the hip, keeping the knee. Let the knees bend a little bit. Let them bend, all right? Because you need the flexibility of that hamstring to be able to find this hinge. Okay, hold it, feel it, try to relax the toes, and come all the way back up. All right, we're gonna get into it this time, okay? Ready? We're gonna start with internal rotation, so we're gonna find the hinge first. Create that internal resistance. Hinge at the hip. Good, taking it nice and slow. We get there slow, right? Because we want to feel that proximal hamstring really turn on. Okay, now we're going to internally rotate that right hip. So that right hip is going to drop a little bit. My chest is going to slightly rotate to the left away from that front leg. My left leg straightened a bit. My right leg bent more. Okay, now come back through center and come all the way back up. We're almost there, hang on, okay? 3 more hinges. Create that internal resistance. Hinge at the hip, hinge, okay? Let your eyes follow your spine, okay? Hold it. Now we're gonna externally rotate, so you're opening the right hip to the right. My chest and Wundacore are gonna rotate to the right with that, just a little. That's not first, right? That's just an after effect of my movement. And then we're gonna come back through center and come all the way back up. You have 1 more each rotation, okay? Press outbound into that ring or into that Wundacore. You got this. Create that internal resistance. Here we go. Hinge at the hip. Hinge, 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 hinge. You got this. Hang on. Okay, hold it. Feel it. Now, right hip is gonna drop a little bit for that internal resistance. My left leg's gonna straighten a little more. Come back through center and come all the way up. Okay, you have 1 more. Okay, here we go. Roll those shoulders down and back, away from the ears. Internally imprint that ring, press outbound on the Wundacore. I'm mixing up both of my cues with the legs and the upper body. Okay, create your internal resistance. So many things to think about, right? It's just, this is Pilates. Hinge at the hip. Find your hinge. You got this. This is your last one, so we're really gonna focus on it, okay? You're imprinting outbound into your Wundacore. You're feeling the back. I know you are. Here we go. Externally rotate that right hip. My right leg is going to straighten a little bit more. My left knee is going to bend a little more. Come back through center and come all the way up. And let your arms come down. Oh my gosh. All right, come down to the mat. Have a seat. Last and final thing. You're going to like this one. Now, I want to say with that last move, if it was very difficult to figure out what was going on with the body, drop the Wundacore for a second, try it again with your hands on your hips, okay? That is a great move to master the movement of the hip, right? We sometimes talk about the leg rotating a lot, but not always the hip. All right, lay down on your back. Oh my gosh, okay. So your legs are long, they are hips width apart. You're gonna point your toes. This beautiful Wundacore is now going to be between our palms. Isn't that nice? That's a nice place to have it. All right, this way, we don't have to worry so much about hanging on to it by imprinting outbound. So now you're going to imprint inbound on that Wundacore. You're going to feel your chest light up a little bit. Okay, so give that back a break. On your inhale, you're going to move this Wundacore overhead. So inhale, take it overhead. It's not going to touch the floor, so I want you to keep your pelvis neutral and your ribs closed. All right, so you have that little bit of breathing room under your low back. You're nice and long. On your exhale, we're gonna roll up and we're gonna hold flexion, all right? So you're getting a lot of flexion today with that standing squat, flexion curl, right? And now, on your exhale, nod your chin round your spine. You're gonna use your abdominals to roll up. The ring, or the Wundacore is gonna roll forward with you. You're drawing your belly button up and back, and now we're gonna keep the rounded spine as we reach the Wundacore for our toes. Okay, hold that length out of the hips. Now flex your feet, the length through the back leg, to stack your spine. Wundacore right off the chest. Okay, now we're gonna roll back, but we're gonna do it with a hinge. So on your inhale, you're gonna lean with a flat back, right? Crown of the head reaching away from the tailbone. My ribs are closed, nothing changed. I just got off the tips of my sitting bones. Now I'm gonna curl through the tailbone, the low back, the mid back. We're gonna roll all the way down. The Wundacore is gonna come up and overhead. Where we started, point your toes. Let's do it again. Exhale, nod the chin around the spine. You're rolling all the way up. Try to keep the back of the leg connected to the floor. Hold your flexion as you reach forward. Wundacore towards the toes. Length. Your biceps are still framing your ears. Roll up to stack the spine. Okay, and let's hinge. Flex, your feet are flexed. Hinge, leaning back off the sitting bones. Curl at the tailbone. The low back, the mid back, you're rolling down with control. The Wundacore comes up and overhead. Point your toes. 2 more times. Exhale, nod the chin around the spine. Draw that belly button up and back to lift you. Hold the flexion. Reaching for those. Flex your feet. Roll up to stack the spine. Sit tall on the tips of the sitting bones. Lean back. It's a hinge. Good. Curl the tailbone, the low back, the mid back rolling all the way down. Wundacore comes overhead, but not letting the ribs open. Point your toes. Last time. Exhale, nod the chin around your spine, rolling up with control, reaching, not momentum, right? There's no momentum in this. Flex your feet. Roll up to stack your spine, broaden your collarbone. Shoulder blades are in their normal position. Now, we're going to roll only halfway back this time. You're going to hinge just to get off the tips of the sitting bones, curl the tailbone and the low back, and as you start to approach the rounding of the mid back, you stay there. So I'm on that place right between my sacrum and my sitting bones, right? That kind of squish, or tailbone and those sitting bones, right? But that squishy part. Okay, now hold here. You're going to point your toes this time. You're going to take the Wundacore overhead. So your biceps are going to frame the ears. Probably what's going to happen is you're going to start to tremble. All right, and that's good stuff. That's all that connective tissue starting to work, so hold. Now, this is challenging, so hang on. But remember, this is your last sequence. You're going to take that left knee, and you're going to pull it up towards the chest. Thigh towards your chest, okay? You want a 90-degree angle at the back of the knee, ideally, okay? Hold it. We're marching these legs, and you're going to set that left leg back down. Keep the Wundacore overhead. Right leg is going to pull thigh towards chest, sinking that femur into the hip. Then send that leg back out. Now, you're going to take this Wundacore to the left for a Russian twist. You're going to come to the left, tap the Wundacore to the ground, come back through center, arms overhead, rotate to the right, tap the Wundacore on the floor, come back through center. You're still in that half roll. Don't go anywhere. Let's march again. Left leg, left thigh pulls up towards the chest. Think more about the thigh, less about the knee. Set it back down. Don't let this half roll down change. Keep it where it's at. You've got this. Right thigh towards your chest. Hold it. Good. Set it back down. Rotate to the left, bringing that Wundacore towards the floor. Good. Come back through center, arms back up, framing the ears. Rotate to the right. Come back through center. You got this 2 more times through. Left thigh towards the chest. This is it. This is the fire at the end. Extend that left leg out. Right thigh towards the chest. Extend that right leg out. Good. Let's rotate to the left. Tap. Back through center. Rotate to the right. Tap. Back through center. Last time. The best time. Here we go. Left thigh towards the chest. Don't lose it. You've got this. Extend that left leg towards the mat. Right thigh towards the chest. Extend it back to the mat. Twist to the left. Tap. Whoo! Come back through center. Twist to the right. Tap. Come back through center. Hold it. And roll all the way down to the mat. And you're all done. Let's do a quick little stretch because that was intense stuff through the hinging and everything. So the Wundacore is a great tool to help stretch through the lower half. So that's what we're going to do. Okay? So we're going to start with the right leg. You're going to take the right foot, right ball of the foot, right below the toes, right, into one side of the Wundacore, and your hands are going to hold the other side. So it's the long way. All right, now, you're on your back. You're going to keep the shoulder blades connected and the head down, all right? And we're gonna stretch through the right hamstring to start. So because your foot is inside the Wundacore, your foot is already flexed. That's great because we're targeting the back of the leg. I want you to make sure the leg is as straight as possible, but again, don't lock out your joint. On your exhale, you're gonna bend your elbows, drawing the Wundacore closer to the chest, right? And stretching the back line of that right leg. Good, and it might feel pretty intense, all right? So just hang on right there. Hang on, feel that stretch. Every exhale, maybe you can get a little deeper into the stretch. Keep opening and reaching through the center of your heel. Really reach and open the back of that knee for 4. Don't hold your breath. Breathe normally for 3, for 2. Good, and release that leg back to the start position. Now, keeping your right hand on the Wundacore, your left hand is gonna come to the floor. You're gonna open that right leg out to the right. But I want you to make sure that your left hip does not pick up off the floor. Okay, out to the right, opening that inner thigh. Now, if you have flexibility in this external rotation and you wanna get a little deeper, try pulling the Wundacore towards your ear, okay, so that you're really kind of lengthening that muscle even more than just opening it, okay? And you're feeling the back line of the leg as well. Hold that for 4, breathing normally for 3. Last 2. Good, and come back to center with that. Now switch hands. Left hand on the Wundacore, right hand on the floor. You're still flexed with that foot. The back of the knee is open. You're gonna exhale as you take that right leg across the midline, across the body. Let your right hip pick up. What doesn't pick up is your right shoulder blade. Keep your right shoulder blade connected to the floor, okay? We're stretching the outer line of the leg, the IT band. This can be really painful for some. This is painful for me. I don't love this stretch very much, but chances are if you don't love it, you probably need it. So that's usually the case. Hold it right there. Breathe for 4. Breathe for 3. Good, last 2. Good, bring it back through center and let's switch legs. Put the right leg down, put the ball of the left foot inside the Wundacore, both hands on the opposite end. Ground those hips, ground those shoulder blades, relax. Here we go, exhale, draw the Wundacore closer to the chest, letting the elbows bend, open, reaching to open the back of that left knee as much as you can possibly. Think about, right, that one side is not exactly the same as the other side, right? So be kind to yourself. If one side's not feeling right, that's okay. We're not perfectly symmetrical, right? These are things that we can work on, little compensations that we start to notice in the body, things you just don't notice in other modalities. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing about Pilates. You learn so much about yourself and your body. And then when things are out of place or not right, you know right away. Good, you're holding for 3. Good, last 2. Release that leg back to start. Keep the left hand on the Wundacore, right hand to the floor. Open that leg out to the left. Keep the right hip connected to the floor. Don't let that right hip pick up, okay? Now, to get deeper, if you've got the flexibility here, then you want to draw that Wundacore closer to your ear. If you don't, just open that leg as much as possible and don't worry about pulling on the Wundacore. Okay, hold it. Breathe. Good. Keeping the ribs closed. Core is connected. For 4, for 3, for 2. Good. Come back through center. Switch hands. Right hand on the Wundacore, left hand on the floor. Take that left leg across the body. Left hip is going to pick up, but what doesn't pick up is your left shoulder blade. Keep it connected. Hold that stretch. Now again, same thing. If you feel good here and you want to get deeper, pull the Wundacore closer to your ear, your right ear. I don't feel good here. I'm not going to do that. So wherever you feel, everybody's different, right? Everybody's different. Hold it for 4. Breathing for 3. For 2. Good. Come back through center. I have one more beautiful stretch for your hips. Put the Wundacore down on the side. Bring your feet up, knees wide. Grab onto the inside of your feet. Okay, we're coming into happy baby. Your knees are bent wider than your shoulders. Your feet are flexed towards the ceiling. Just hold this right here. Let the hips open up. Good. Now, if you feel good and you want to rock side to side, just giving that spine a little massage, you can do that. Just a little bit. Good. Close your eyes. Let it all go. That was a challenging flow. It was not easy to connect with what was happening with the body. So well done, right? Don't be afraid to try this again. Maybe you had to put the Wundacore down. Maybe you can pick it up next time, right? Be kind to yourself. Learn your body. It's a wonderful thing. Good. We're here for 4. Last 3. Last 2. Good. Hug your knees into. Pull on up. And guys, you did it. Well done. Very well done. That Wundacore's got some weight, so don't be surprised if you feel your back tomorrow. I think I'm going to feel mine. Excellent job. I will see you next time.